That's the only thing where I feel like, it's not that I don't feel like someone should be able to play any sport and compete, but like when a dude transitions to becoming a woman, and is like, I play basketball now. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You have the right to live your life and play, but like, you have all those skills that you developed as a man, and now you're playing against frailer, smaller,
Yeah.
like that. To say that like you can't bring that up, that's offensive, is ridiculous to me.
Well, especially when it comes to fighting.
Fuck yeah, man.
That was the big one. And that was where I really understood like how bizarre
A biological male has just become the first transgender person to win a world title in cycling.
First transgender weightlifter winning her maiden international event as a woman.
A biological male winning a gold medal in a women's event now seems a matter of when, not...
The getting on to the girls, tough. And she said, these girls, when you deal with these girls that are fighters, serious, it's just like dealing with a guy. I mean, they're built, they're mechanically built the same way mentally, And, if you say two words to them, they'll want to fight. When they were younger, they were very aggressive. So she's telling me this story where she used to work at this restaurant bar type place. And her and the fry cook hated each other, right? And he used to sexually harass her and talk down to her. And he used to say, if there's ever one woman that I'd like to hit in the face, it's you, and all this stuff, right? And she used to tell the management, and the management would say, oh, you better watch out, she's gonna kick your ass. And they just joke about it. So she said, finally one day, she's like, fuck it, I'm tired of your shit, let's step outside. So her and this guy go out back, and they square off, and she goes, and he hit me with a right hand and dropped me. She goes, and I got back up, and he hit me with a right hand and dropped me again. And I got back up, and we squared, hit me the third time, dropped me. She said, my eye was shut, I needed 14 stitches in my eye and all this stuff. And she said, that's the day I said, you know what? I guess I shouldn't be fighting with men. You know what I mean? So the reason I tell you this story is because I'm saying men are bigger, men are stronger, men are just built differently. I don't care how tough. Can Ronda Rousey kick the shit out of everybody in this room? Yes, she can. It's a fact, including me. Everybody. I don't care who's in this room right now. Ronda Rousey.
So you guys just seeing all of that, and I wanted to show that so that when we get into this video, y'all guys can kind of see, what's been going on. Y'all heard what Joe just said. You heard what Dana White just said. He gave that little story about these transgender athletes. And one thing that I want to kind of repeat is I agree, with that first interview with Joe Rogan. You want to be, if you're a person that's a man and you wake up one day and you feel like you're a woman and you want to transition into a woman, hey, that's your prerogative. But the problem comes in is when you want to compete in competitive sports, and that to me is where we kind of got to draw the line. We got these women coming, or these transgender women, they coming in here and they're literally destroying these biological girls in sports. And in my opinion, you're kind of, you're stealing their joy and you're taking away from all of their hard work and dedication. And you're coming into a space and dominating with an unfair advantage. And shout out to this content creator. We're going to get into this video. Steven Crowder, Louder with Crowder. He does a lot of these installments where he does the Change My Mind series. He'll pull up on a college campus and he'll, he'll have a controversial take on things, and then he will invite the body of the campus to come on his show to change his stance, to change his mind, which is perfect, because if you disagree with somebody, you should always be open and willing to have the conversation, as long as they're going to come with some logic and some facts and check those feelings. But what I notice is that a lot of people get triggered and they're not able to have a conversation. They're speaking from emotionalism, and they kind of just get to acting out, and they're being governed by their emotions. And with this installment, which was kind of surprisingly, This was a Rolling Stone journalist, and I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. We're going to go ahead and get into it and watch it. But again, like I was surprised at how this journalist conducted himself during this interview with Mr. Steven Crowder. So we're going to get into it. We're going to react to it, and yeah, let's get right into it.
Males should be allowed to compete with women, biological females in women's sports. If you disagree with me, I'm more than happy to hear your case and let you change my mind. So,
all right, so yeah, let him explain it a lot better. So you heard what Steven just said. Basically, he has a take on the subject at hand. He believes that biological males should not be competing against biological women. He gave his position. He's like, you're more than welcome to change my mind. So he's giving this guy an opportunity to change his mind. And we're going to listen to this malarkey from this Rolling Stone journalist.
So I guess before we get into it, what is your definition of the term biological female? Is that something that...
See, and that's what I don't like. Every time someone tries to have a conversation with a person that is for, the transgender argument, they always want you to define what is a biological male, what is a biological female. It's like, why do we have to go there? It's the same definition that it's always been. The definition of a biological male, the definition of a biological female is one thing that has never changed. It's a constant. It's a constant variable. Why are you trying to, remix and re-legislate the definition of what has always been? That's what I don't like. You start off telling me to define something which we already know what the definition of it is. Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about?
Would include people who are assigned female at birth that were born intersex.
So this is interesting that you're bringing up this point intersex. You're talking about the 0.01% of the population.
Now, you hear that? So that guy, he immediately goes to the very, very extreme, saying, what about the people that are born intersex? And Steven comes right back, like, where you're talking about 0.016% of the population. That's how we're going to start this off. It's like, why do we have to go to the extremes to prove to take a position in an argument? Why are we not talking about the majority? Why are we talking about a minute portion of the population to make our point? It's because you don't have a point. You're trying to rewrite history. You're trying to re-legislate biology. Don't understand it, man. You guys, people like this, you guys have a grievance with God. That's what you guys have a grievance with. I mean, that's what it sounds like. You're mad at God for making males males and females females. You got to take that up with God. You can't take that up with me. Well, crazy, but let's get into this.
1.5, 1.7, because there are surgeries that are done.
Wow, so he actually said that no, it's not 0.016, it's 1.5. So that's a very big jump in statistics, and I'm bringing that up because they're going to get into that as well.
Babies, when they're born, and then they assign them a gender.
So let me address two different points here.
Sure.
First off, what I'm saying with biological males and females is the overwhelming majority of people, of course, across the globe since the beginning of time, who are born as a male, born as a female. They can go not only by chromosomes, but secondary sex characteristics.
So, like, if there's are there 100 people here?
Hold on, let me finish. And then I'll address your second point.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. So doctors, for example, fill out male or female. Now we're talking about sex, right? We're not talking about identified gender. I'm assuming that you would agree that sex is a biological term and gender is there's a social
difference between.
I understand that's how gender theory is presented, certainly in gender studies on college campus.
Sure.
With intersex, it's about 0.01% of the population, and the vast majority of them,
once again, it's
the vast majority of them don't require any kind of a sex change.
That's actually not an accurate statistic.
It is an accurate statistic.
I can pull up
and
the
I'll make
Google
all the
statistic
references available.
Right now, it's.
Watch this. Watch this magical Google search this journalist is going to pull out. This is amazing. This guy's a magician.
1.5%.
1.5% of the population is not intersex.
So they have a point of contention The journalist is saying that it's 1.5% of the population is intersex. Crowder is saying, no, that's way too high. It's only 0.01% of the population is born intersex.
Well, they're born that
And
way.
even then, a very small percentage of them are improperly assigned with a primary sex at birth. They usually have primary sexual characteristics, okay?
So
primary sexual characteristics, and very few have to end up going with some kind of a sex change operation later in life.
because it's often done when they're children or when they're babies.
Right, or they're assigned male, female at birth, even if they're intersex.
Yeah, I guess
doctor.
that's what I'm trying to get at. Are you talking
So
about
what I'm
people
dealing
who are
with, if we separate that intersex, okay? So let's say we allow intersex to no, I'm saying let's say we allow intersex to compete in the division they choose.
How do you prove that they're?
You see that? Like they don't ever want to. They don't ever want to like hard line on any type of point. It's always this: how do you prove? What about all this? Whataboutism? You know, we don't get to any solid points. Everything is left up to your feelings. Everything is left up into the air. There's no hard line points with these type of people because they don't want to make a point. They just want to do whatever they feel. That's what I want you guys to realize. When you talk to people like this, the people that argue this point, there's always, it's all about how I feel. They disregard science, biology, facts, statistics, anything that's verifiable with truth, they dismiss it. And they accept the feelings, they accept the emotion. And that's dangerous, you know, because we're talking about something that is biology. But we ignore that because I don't feel a certain way. Crazy.
And how do you even get to that question of are you or are you not? Are you asking then that there has to be a box that people have to tick that they were intersex?
I'm confused by you presenting the argument here because you asked me about intersex.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is there are edge cases here that I don't think that your presentation actually encompasses. And
I just
furthermore,
encompassed it.
So if people
what is
are
intersex?
allowed, so that someone who is born with both female and male sex characteristics.
There you go. Now you've got it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then
You just
there are
checked the box.
surgeries that are done
You just
to
checked
them.
the box.
But someone would have to ask them that.
Yes.
So are you proposing that people are asked that?
What I'm saying is if someone is intersex, let's allow that to be an exception.
So how
let's
do
say
we
that someone
know
who's
that that is
intersex
the
can compete
case?
in any division they want to.
How do we know
They would
that?
have to declare if they're intersex.
So you're at
And
so,
it would be submitted, they would obviously be examined by a doctor, just
Okay.
as the women are in women's sports and men
Okay.
are in men's sports. Just as they have to submit to not only blood sampling for drug tests, hair follicle sampling, often nail scrapings, right? We both know that physicals are conducted in all sports to separate for what? Sex, right? To separate for weight.
See, I mean, he's making some good points, Mr. Crowder. It's like, how do we separate in sports? You know, we have them go through certain physical examinations to separate male and female. And you can look at this guy's, you know, facial expressions where he's acting like he doesn't know what he's talking about. But it's just it's the dishonesty for me. It's just the clear lying for me, where you see he's making a point, but instead of just saying, you know what, you're right, you just want to lie and be dishonest about something that is just so obvious. That's why it's just you got the people that have this argument and have this mindset. It's just really it's just really no sense of even trying to talk to somebody like this, because they're not ever going to come to terms and come to grips with reality. They live in their own little world, their own little box, and whatever they feel is the real. Amazing.
To separate for
when I was playing sports when I was a kid, no one ever inspected my genitals.
He's just lying.
Really?
Right there. He's lying. When you play sports, no one inspects your reproductive parts. You're just lying right now.
No.
You never had to turn your head and cough?
Well, that wasn't for doing sports. That's called a physical. That's a medical thing that was separate from being able to do sports.
Yeah, and they use the information from your physical to determine what is your biological assignment to place you in the correct, proper division of the sports. It's like, I don't understand his argument. I don't understand what this guy is talking about. He's trying to say that he was just put into a classification of sports based upon what? So if you go with his argument, how were you classified as to what gender sport you were supposed to be in. If it wasn't determined by a physical examination, how did they determine that? See, again, he's just lying. Just lying.
Yeah, so you never had to do a full medical?
I mean,
So you must not have played sports at a high level. Because
weren't really
everyone
concerned
has to
about-
pass a medical. You do realize that at Division I sports, you would have to pass a medical. You know why?
so the medical would be a description of your genitals. Would that?
It would include it.
It would include a written description and a verbal description.
Yes.
Really?
This medical examination, would include the description of your vitals,
Okay.
of your health, of your health parameters.
So I guess now that we've gone through that, what is?
But we haven't gone through that.
What is the reason that you're?
We haven't gone through that. You haven't
So
answered
if you're
me.
concerned, if you're less concerned about intersex people, then why are you so concerned about transgender people?
It's a big difference. Intersex people were born that way. Transgender people feel that way. Like, what the man? I just don't get it, because I've been trying to understand their argument, and there is no argument. There is no logic. Again, they need therapy because they want to sit up there and talk to you about their feelings. And we're supposed to be having a logical conversation about facts. You want to sit up here and waste my time and talk about your feelings. This is crazy.
Again, I was answering your question. You asked about intersex.
They both get surgery. Sometimes they both need hormone treatment. What's your position against? If you're okay with one, why are you not okay with the other?
Here's exactly why. First off, you're taking an extreme example to make a point, misrepresenting those statistics. It's not 1.5% of the population.
All right,
You won't
I'll just
find a
Google
physician
it.
in the country.
It's fine.
You won't find a single physician in the country.
Sorry.
According to experts, 1.7% of the population.
You see how fast? Look at the speed of his Google search. It's almost like he had that screenshotted. He unlocked his phone. Voila! It just appeared. That was amazing. Wow.
Is born with intersex traits.
Pause a second. Let's
Even Crowder had to harp on that. Like, man, did you guys see that?
analyze his Googling technique.
I'll just Google it.
In the country.
It's fine.
Check him out.
You won't find a single physician in the country.
According to experts.
A two-click Google search. It's almost as if he had the whole thing planned out. Poorly.
1.7% of the population is born with intersex traits.
That's from amnesty.org.
I mean,
Amnesty.
yeah. I mean, I can just keep. I can go
That's
to.
from amnesty.org.
I mean, it's from. There's Wikipedia. There's
Yes,
plenty of.
Amnesty and Wikipedia. Okay.
There's
I'll make
here's
my
a
references
PubMed,
available.
NCBI, and like this is a medical journal. So I mean, like,
You know,
look,
hold on a second. Let me actually. You know what? 'Cause
Why is he so defensive on him touching his phone? Like, dude, what? You think he's gonna steal your phone? Oh, because he's gonna see that you screenshotted that, and he's actually gonna look at what it really says. Because we're not gonna leave it up to your interpretation, because your interpretation is rooted in feelings, not facts. So we can't trust what comes out of your mouth. And the sad thing about this is guy is a journalist. He's a journalist with this mindset. I could just imagine what type of pieces that he has written in the news. That's why this thing about fake news is a real thing. Because you got people like him that have the position to put out the news to the masses. This is dangerous, man. I see why Trump was talking all that fake news. Because you got fake people like him putting out fake news.
Okay, you know what? Just
I would
hold it up for me.
encourage
Hold it up for me.
anyone that
Hold it up for me.
wants to do
Because you
this.
just brought up PubMed and it didn't
Yeah.
reflect what you just reflected in
So
Amnesty.
abstract.
0.0018%, almost 100 times lower than Fausto Sterling estimate of 1.7.
Wow. Checkmate. Checkmate. That's exactly what Mr. Crowder said in the beginning. That the actual number was 0.01% of the population. This guy argued that it was 1.5. Off of his phone, he proved his point. I'm going to let this play a little bit longer, but as you guys can see, Mr. Crowder was pretty much flawless in this. The guy didn't make any points. He went to an extreme small populace of the population to make his point, which wasn't even true, might you add. Just disproved that. So this guy, then he lied about, you don't get physical examinations when you go into sports. Just no truth, no facts. And again, it's very sad because he's supposed to be a he is a journalist. A Rolling Stone journalist is lying like this, has no ethics like this.
So it is because they're
Can you
talking
hold
about
that up to the camera?
chromosomal sex.
Can you hold that up to the camera?
Inconsistent.
Can you hold that up to the
phenotypic
camera?
Sex. Yeah. So let's see.
Can you hold it up to the camera?
There's a debate about this, which is what we're having.
Pause. Now, if you notice.
Okay, yeah, I'm done. Because you're not having a debate, man. You're throwing your phone back in your pocket. You're not letting anybody look at the phone. You just talking, man. That's all you're doing. Yeah, we've seen enough. We've seen enough. We heard enough. So, y'all, yeah, my ultimate position. Again, if you're a person that wants to change your gender, you go right ahead. You know, do whatever. That's on you. That's your prerogative. That doesn't affect me at all. But where the contention comes out from me and from, you know, most of the population is when you want to carry your ass into these sports arenas and you want to dominate. You have an unfair advantage. You're cheating. You are absolutely cheating and robbing these girls, these women of opportunity. They have put in work. They have put in tears, years, and sweat. And then here you come and you take all that away unfairly. My question for that community, why don't you ever see women that transition to men go into sports and compete against men? Why don't you ever see that? I'll tell you why. Because they would get annihilated. It's only one side of this. Because they know they can come in and dominate. So what really is going on is that as a man, you fucking sucked. You sucked. You couldn't compete. You were getting your ass destroyed. Now you want to cross over to another arena. That is some sick shit. I feel for all of the women that have had to endure this, had to have gotten, you know, any type of scholarship opportunities, any type of opportunities at all that were stripped away from you because a man transitioned and decided to come over there and, you know, take your shine away, take your, you know, your accolades away. But again, the world we live in, man, the world we live in. So, yeah, if anybody wants to check out that full video, go to Steven Crowder, Louder with Crowder YouTube page. He's an excellent content creator. Shout out to my coworker Brad for putting me on Steven Crowder. I really enjoy his videos. He's very informative. I don't agree with everything that he says, but I agree with a lot of what he says. And yeah, excellent content creator. You ever get a chance, go over there and check him out. Give him a subscribe, like his videos, whatever. Like this video. You know, I appreciate you guys, you know, for checking this out, doing these reaction videos. I had to react to this. And yeah, man, you know how we end it. We're anti-sloppy, lazy, obese, bad behavior. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Peace.